Hello beer tubers and welcome to yet another Throwback Thursday with me, Peter, the Master of Hobbits. Today throwing back with some Saison. The Saison, really. This is like the benchmark of Saison. But it's got a cousin today. We're drinking Saison Dupont and Saison Dupont Biologique. I haven't done a Throwback Thursday in quite a while, but we're finally doing one. This is one I've been planning to do for a while as well. So I wanted to drink these a whole lot earlier, but they got to sit a little. They're still within their best before ranges and whatnot, but I have no idea when these were bottles because they give quite long shelf lives to Saison Dupont and the Biologique. So, yeah, I am not sure about that whatsoever. So, if you do not know Saison Dupont, it's by Brasserie Dupont. It is, as I said, the one of the benchmarks for saisons. It's a very, very classic beer, and it's if you want to explore the rusticness of Belgian saison, it's just a great place to start. It's with no crazy fuss, no fruit, no weird things. It's just like a straight, pale, well hopped saison. And yeah, it will be really fun to try. I loved this reviewing it back in the day, or loved it. I gave it a pretty good grade. I think I gave it a 90, and back then that was quite high for me to go 90 because I had an idea that, like, I had a whole different idea about the rating system and rating on a 100 scale and percentiles and averages and what percentile actually is required to pass a beer. But let's not talk too much about that and talk about the beers. So jump back to this one, Saison Dupont, and very famous as I said. And they also, I think it was 19. Was it? It's more recent. This has been brewed like this at least in this. It's been brewed before the 50s, but the recipe is pretty much unchanged since the 50s, as far as I could gather. But the Biologique version here is a bit newer to the lineup. It came the same time as their Biologique Moinette, which is their blonde. But actually, what's also interesting is that the Biologique is 5.5% and Saison Dupont is 6.5%. So this is stronger than its organic cousin. So which one should we start with? That's the question. I haven't had a Saison Dupont in a very long time, so I kind of want to start with Saison Dupont, and because it's the benchmark and the classic, and see how the organic compares. But the organic is lower ABV, and usually you start with the lower ABV stuff. But not today, so we're starting with the classic. So pours a golden yellow color. We got some haze and some yeast particles resting on the side of the glass here. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Wow, that looks really weird. It's just dead yeast. But the thing is with Saison Dupont is re-fermented in the bottle. They bottle condition, as you say, in the UK. So it has live yeast in the bottle, both this and the organic version, Belgique. So the beer can develop over time. That's the general idea behind it. So, and as you can also see already by the color, the organic one looks lighter. So I'm wondering if this is older, because often, beers start to oxidize just a little bit. But I just think it's because it's stronger beer, really, because the yeast should help prevent oxidation, but it also depends on how old this bottle is. But I don't know, so I don't know what shelf life they give the beers. This says the third month of 2024, and this says the second month of 2023. So I don't know. Let's just check out Saison Dupont. I haven't had this in so long. This will be really interesting. Fluffy white head on this too. Very high carbonation. You can see that as well. Let's check out the aroma. Oh, really peppery, really doughy, really bready, really wheaty. We're just gonna do this because I swirl with my right hand. Oh, a little bit of apple. Really black peppery and spicy. Phenolic spice in terms of like yeast spice, but I think it's also hop spice, like a spicy, almost noble hop type thing. It's grassy, it's also citric and lemony. It has like a really, really rustic, wheaty, almost spelt like grain profile, like rustic wheat, almost like whole grain, if you can say it like that. And then it like has like this hay-like kind of, just like walking to a fresh field of of like just like fresh wheat or fresh grains, or just like the hay you can smell on fields when you know, like harvest season and whatnot is around. It's got like that kind of rusticness to it. It's not like funky or anything like say lambics, but it just has like a really pronounced rustic grain profile. And what's also fun is like it smells like it's gonna be bone dry. Like it smells so dry, and I think part of the yeast in here is diastatic yeast, which will eat up everything pretty much. So usually saisons end up being bone dry because of that. Bone dry even. Smells really good. Let's try it. Cheers. Oh, that is really nice. It doesn't taste like it's the freshest bottle because the malt and yeast is more pronounced than the hops. But that is really good. Like if you love any type of like classic brewed bright, let's say lager beer. I'm thinking like with Czech style hops, like that's really peppery. You're gonna love this, but just with, you know, fruit flavor of Belgian beer. It's really lovely, and of course also a much more rustic grain profile. But it just screams what I think of when I think of what a saison is. They also do like the Christmas version, which is much stronger. I much prefer this. I don't need those like 8%. I think that gets a bit more. Is it almost 9? I can't remember. That beer just to me gets a bit more cloying than this. In the long run, really huge black pepper profile, almost like toasty or burnt black pepper, like almost you toast them on the pan. Big rustic, like almost like spicy wheatiness. Almost like there's rye, there's like wheat, there's like spelt, like there's so many like really rustic grain flavors going on, and then also like that hay thing I talked about. Pronounced citric fruitiness as well, like lemon pith, more so than like juice. Also, even a hint of something resembling like yellow grapefruit. Grassiness, big time grassiness, and like nettles too. There's even stewed fruitiness underneath too, like apple, pear, stewed pear especially. That's really refreshing. It's really complex, actually. It's something you really can sit and think about for a while, especially for such a low strength beer. There's a lot of stuff going on, but it's really, really classic flavors. Like, this is not crazy tropical juice bomby, whatever. This is just like dead on classic flavor profile of, you know, a saison, or just think like beer that tastes like beer, really, just to put it simply. This tastes like beer. It's not like crazy in terms of all kinds of things going on with saisons, but I love that you can do that. Like, I love saisons with fruit. I love saisons with like wild yeast and whatnot, and barrel aging and things like that. But this is just like so rustic, and that's what you should kind of aim for when you create these. Also, like that high carbonation and everything. And I love how balanced it is. It's like it has a slight sharp acidity to it that fades really quickly. It has a very nice drying back end of like bitterness without it being too much. It's like really well balanced, but I'm almost even getting tannins to it, like almost like a tannic. I don't want to say white grape skin, but it's almost like something like that. It seems like the organic one has better head retention. I mean, look at that. It has some lacing on the glass. Much paler, not as hazy, but I also don't think I poured as much into the glass here. And also I see dead yeast on the bottom of the bottle here, so we just didn't get it in here. Let's check out the aroma on the organic version. Much milder. Much milder. I'm getting much more of a grassy profile and a whole lot less rustic. There's a little bit of that like rustic, spicy flair to it, but not as much. I'm also getting like a almost slightly soapy aloe vera thing, and a bit of earthiness actually as well. And I think I got that on the regular one as well. But yeah, much more easygoing and a whole lot less explosive. Like Saison Dupont is actually really explosive on the aroma and the flavor. But this just seems a whole lot more subdued. Let's try the organic version. Cheers. It almost is like a slightly watered down Saison Dupont. It's a bit more bitter. It has like a bitter, grassy, nettly, almost hop matter. Like, I don't want to say chewing on hops, but it has more of like a really grassy hop flavor. Like almost astringent as well. Lovely carbonation too. More bright. More apple than pear. Not those stewed characteristics. More like fruit in general. Not as much spice. And like just like that huge phenolic pepper thing. Wow, what a difference. Whoa, that is crazy. This bursts out of the glass with aromas. This is more just like subdued. Seems like kind of like an everyday type beer, whereas this is like something where it's like, oh yeah, there we go. This is some good stuff. I don't want to say beer for a special occasion. It's a good after work beer, I guess. It's a good beer whenever, because it's just a great beer, and great beer should be drunk whenever. Wow, so much more character on the regular. What the hell? This is so much more simple. I think there's more of a wheaty fluffiness to this, and it's even less rustic the more I drink it. There is a touch of that like spicy kind of grain thing and like grass, and then yeah, well, hefty, like quite a spicy, grassy kind of like herby flavor actually, with apple, lots of apple. Huh? It's actually, I don't know, it's not boring. It's quite well made. Still, I think so. Not a bad beer by any means, but it's quite far from the standard of regular Saison Dupont, which is pretty impressive. Like, I'd imagine if you do an organic version of a beer, you try to do something like very similar. This seems similar, but also different. It might be a case of this being fresher than this. I don't know. I mean, it's still nice. I'm really digging the spiciness and the intense dryness. This is also really, really dry beer. Dry, but still so fluffy. I think part of that fluffiness, too, has to do with the really high carbonation. So it fluffs up in your mouth. And you don't, like, that helps have you perceive the beer as being fuller, because there's so much, like so much of the beer is being uplifted in your mouth. So it's like, it just engulfs your whole palate. And I think that helps, you know, when it's really, really dry, so it doesn't feel too dry. This was a long video of me ranting, so I think we should cut it short. Ratings, 90 for Saison Dupont. Fucking dead on benchmark Saison. Probably 92, 3-ish if it had a bit more brightness. And I think it would have if it was fresher. It should be a 92. It's got so much flavor, and I'm getting so much more stewed fruit. It's like white grapes, almost like sultanas, and apple pear stewed. Yeah. 91, let's go in the middle, because I think it's, I remember liking this better when it's really fresh and there's more of a pronounced hop character. So something like that. And then on the organic version, it's just so much more mild and easygoing. I mean, it's still very nicely drinking beer, but it's just nowhere near as good as a regular. So I'm gonna go 85. I think 86 maybe. It's all right. Yeah, it's more than all right. It's a decent beer, but it's just lacking that flavor. We're thinking, yeah, there we go, really good stuff. And this one has that. It's got more layers of flavor, layers of complexity. So that was a long Throwback Thursday, but it was fun trying these side by side. And yeah, hopefully I get to try these fresh in Belgium. So if you guys had a chance to try Saison Dupont or Saison Dupont Biologique, let me know what you thought of them. Fantastic Belgian classic beer. Something you should check out if you haven't already. And yeah, as always, guys, remember to comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page and Twitter and Instagram. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Ring the bell for future notifications about videos. And let me know if there's a beer you'd want to see on a Throwback Thursday episode, and I'll try to see if I can get it. Throwback Thursday meaning classic beer I drank in the past, something you think I should revisit, let me know. And I'm going to say cheers in my favorite, the classic Saison Dupont. And see you guys in another beer review.